All right, here we go. Hey everyone, happy Sunday if you celebrate Easter. Happy Easter. If you don't celebrate Easter, happy Sunday. Maisha T. Hill, the curator of Check Your Privilege, creator of the Heal Your Way Forward Collective. And I'm excited to be here with Erika Wright. We're hanging out on Keeping It Real with Maisha T. Hill, talking about healing codependency. Erika, thank you for being here today.
I am so happy to be anywhere with you. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. Why don't you tell the folks a little bit about who you are, Erika, and what you do in the world?
So I am a self-proclaimed codependency counselor. I made that job for myself when it became clear that what I thought was the plague of my life was actually gonna save my life. And yeah, I really started to see that codependency is an American Western world curated situation that we all have in varying degrees. And I get really excited about helping people unravel from that particular cult.
Wait a second. All right, let's shoot the shit now because I wasn't ready for that. Did you just say that codependency is an American thing?
Well, it's definitely the byproduct of colonialism and settlerism and organized religion and patriarchy and white supremacy, which pretty much sums up the entirety of our modern American experience. So yeah. I just want to say I haven't gone and lived in any other Western country,
Hmm.
for any length of time. So I definitely make sweeping generalization statements, but this is what being raised a white American cis het female, this is my observation of my experience and the history that I've been offered.
Damn, that's real. And then for you to say it's a cult. So I've been thinking about
Yeah.
this too. Is America a cult?
Yeah. Well, I've just in the past couple months started using that terminology because it feels fitting.
Mm-hmm.
Um, as I am unraveling from this behavior, what I'm noticing is how it feels like I have been groomed and conditioned to be this way. Okay. So I don't think I've had two children. Okay. And when these babies come out, they don't really have a lot going on other than I'm alive, love, foods. Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
then, noticing all of the learned belief systems that I have been fed
Right.
through my ancestors' belief systems and the media's. Yeah. What I've been, I'm 52. I grew up the TV. It was like, here's everything you ever need to know. And it's a learned conditioning.
That is something I've also been saying for around this probably 6 months.
Yeah, that's right.
And I think for me, it started, Erica, when we were trying to hold white women accountable for causing harm in the community that we have. And they
Yeah.
were like, this is a cult. And we're like, this is not a cult.
Nah. Yeah,
It's just accountability.
that's right.
And then to your point around being groomed and conditioned, that's absolutely what all of us here have been groomed and conditioned to uphold
Yes.
all of these systems and not build healthy interdependent relationships.
Yeah.
And I think part of it is rooted in a lot of it's rooted in patriarchy, like you said,
Sure.
religion,
Sure.
and really not getting to the core of who we are as an individual. Because I really
Sure.
think that there has to be the individual and the collective and not just the collective.
Right.
And because that's the scary thing. Everyone's like collective liberation, and you're just like, but who
Yeah,
are you outside the collective? And I don't
that's
know,
right.
is that type of collectivism to you kind of codependency?
Yeah, that's right. Well, it's okay. So codependency for me really
Hmm.
highlights a lot of polarization, in, out, on, off, you know, and it negates everything in between, which is
Yeah.
both and, you know, a lot of and. So it's like, yeah, interdependency is me and us, you
Yeah.
and them,
Yeah.
right? And I I think this is new for what we for right now. Okay. I think it's been happening in indigenous cultures and
Absolutely.
other not okay societal structures that is this now. So this is new for a lot of Americans. And, I think part of where a lot of folks have a roadblock is the grooming and the conditioning is like, well, if you're not an expert just by existing, you're a stupid idiot. So, push away the learning experience, because that I think that's part of the patriarchal stuff is like, if you're not perfect and you don't know everything, then you're useless, right?
Yeah, for
So
sure.
it's like really being able to be like, oh, this is a new thing. So we are learning
Mm.
we are learning, we are allowed to not be right or know or be experts. And part of the grooming that we've received as white Americans is a disdain and terror of failure,
Yeah,
right? So it's like
absolutely.
you don't even want to stick your neck out, you can't get it wrong. Okay,
Mm.
which the wrong and the right and the good and the bad are the part of the
Yeah.
polarization that is
Yeah.
right. So it's like everything in between is not celebrated or
Yeah.
even discussed, like in the school system, right? It's like it
Absolutely.
yeah, it's very rigid. So interdependency for me, it's the opposite of rigidity. It's flexibility. It's
It's it's like flow. It's like,
yeah,
one of the things I know I talk about a lot is hierarchy, like this
that's
need
right.
for we don't even realize when we're co-creating hierarchy, either
Yeah,
in relationships or in communities. And I don't even think like we don't know how to relate or be together. What does it mean to just be together? What does
that's
it
right.
mean to just relate together? And I think one of my things I have here on this platform and in the community is people want to codepend on me for what are they codepending on me for, Erica? I'm losing my train of thought.
Yeah, so they want you to make them feel a certain way. So
Yeah.
codependency at its core is manipulation and control of either your own feelings or someone else's. So it's like I feel bad about myself. You tell me I'm good and then I'm allowed to feel a certain way about myself or I feel uncomfortable that I feel uncomfortable. Now you should fix that or you're a problem.
Wait a minute. That was so good. I need to write that down. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna type that up because I don't
Yeah,
have that written down. What
instead
is
of someone being
codependency?
like, I'm uncomfortable because this is uncomfortable for me. And I'm uncomfortable with the fact that I'm uncomfortable because nobody has ever taught me that my discomfort isn't a problem. All I have been groomed to believe is that if I'm uncomfortable, someone better do something about that shit right away. Right. So
Wow.
we often, part of the grooming and conditioning is that our external world gets to dictate how we feel instead of us being responsible for how we feel. It's like, yeah, I'm uncomfortable because this is uncomfortable. And then the potential self-examination that comes with that. Why am I uncomfortable? What is happening here? Oh, I'm
Mm-hmm.
uncomfortable because I am being told that my behavior is harmful and I don't actually know how to respond to that
Right.
other than to feel like I'm being made wrong and I need to write that instead of this is uncomfortable and let me be with it.
It's interesting that you said this is uncomfortable, let me be with it. And this is where I said, well, is it hard? I think a lot of people in white bodies don't know how to be in their body.
No,
So
well, you're
be
taught
with
not to
it.
be. Yeah,
Yep, you're taught not to be in your bodies. You're
yeah,
taught not to feel your feelings. So telling you to
that's
be
right.
with it is so uncomfortable that you do move quickly towards that codependency.
Well,
Two
yes,
things someone asks, are you from Boston? Yes, Erica's from
yes,
Boston.
painfully.
Um, and then someone asked, maybe you can answer this question.
Yeah,
How do we avoid being perfectionistic and calls for accountability within the
yeah.
material conditions of oppression, capitalism, and racism? And I just want to throw out here real quick, Erica, is that do you want to be free or do you want to be enslaved?
Is someone asking me that?
Someone's asking this question.
Oh, if I
Yeah.
want to be free or
No,
enslaved?
they're asking how do we avoid being
Got it.
perfectionistic and calls for accountability with the material conditions of oppression, capitalism, and racism. Do you have an imagination? I want actually want to start with the imagination real quick, Erica, and I'll come
Okay.
back and read it again.
Okay.
One of the things I noticed is that I'm going to read a quote. Bell Hooks says, "You cannot create what you can't imagine." So,
That's
how do
right.
you avoid perfectionism?
Yeah.
Go to your imagination, your creativity, and play.
Yeah.
A lot of people in white bodies, you're like, what do you mean, my imagination, creativity, and play? I
Yeah.
think we spend so much time trying to internalize what you've learned.
Yeah.
And that internalization pushes that codependency muscle of, I got to get it right. I got to get it right. I can't
That's
fail.
right.
You're going to
That's right.
cause harm. You're going to fail. And if you really want to avoid perfectionism, you have to dream. Like, what am I dreaming?
That's
What am
right.
I doing? What is the world that I am actively creating in real time? Because we've never done this before.
Yeah.
What are we creating in real time? And
Yeah.
like, just fail. But go
That's
ahead,
right.
Erica. You might have a different take.
Well, a couple things. One, I would say personally for me, I care more about being loving than I care about being right. I don't give a fuck about being right. I care about being loving. That's what I care about. And learning what that is, okay? Because in
Hmm.
the past for me, loving was being a doormat. So it's not that. There's one thing that I know that it isn't, okay? And then the other piece is this is something that really helps me in my personal anti-racism work, in my relationships with other people and with humanity at large. And I want to just say, like, this is not easily accessible for a lot of folks. And it's this: at the core, what works for me is to know that everyone inherently is innocent. Okay? That the soul of a human, it's innocent. And everybody has a lot of learned behaviors that are based on fear. So how I like to try to walk through my life is what I'm about to do or say or how I'm going to behave fear-based or love-based,
Hmm.
and to whom and to what. So a lot of times it's slowing down and not react and slowing down and asking myself, what is the point of the communication I'm about to have?
Yep.
Is it loving? Am I willing to listen? Do I already have my mind made up?
Yep.
Am I in a space to learn?
Yep.
And what is the point? And for me, it's like, well, the point is loving. That's the point for me. I don't give a shit about being right.
That is so beautiful to witness another human being kind of speak that language. Like I'm working on a book right now, and
Yeah.
love is a really big part of it.
Yeah.
And um, as I was writing, I was thinking about my journey, and you know a lot about my journey.
Yeah.
And I often say my need to connect it outweighs my need to be right. But
Yeah.
I love the emphasis on love. How am I? My need to be loving outweighs my need to be right, or my need to convince someone to change. And just sitting with that, I'm wondering, for those of you who ask that question, what comes up for you hearing that, this idea of love, or some people say positive intent or
Sure.
blameless, whatever the case may be. Like Dawn, I know you were the one with the question. If you're still here, hearing that response from Erica, what was that like for you? I think the overlap in what you said is just seeing how my work is like people are just like, how do you not get upset? I'm like, why would I get mad? It's not my job. Like the boundary of what my job is and what my job isn't,
That's right.
not just in the work, but just as a human being. And when you're healing codependency, Erica, how do you filter what's your job, what's not your job?
Yeah.
Or like what's the temperature check around like, oh, I'm trying to control this person or manipulate? How can you tell?
Yeah. Well, for me, what I try to do is I have all of my feelings, okay, which oftentimes for me is like, impatience, annoyance, are a lot of feelings that I'll feel when I'm vulnerable, okay? And for me, it's like the way I'll know that I'm not being controlling and manipulative is that I'll be vulnerable,
Mm,
right? And then when righteousness comes in, or I got to change this person's mind. I have to convince anybody of anything, which I do not do. It's just like, then I'll know, oh, here comes the codependency, which is also an indication of the vulnerability.
That's really good. You brought up vulnerability. You kind of answered this person's question. I'm going to put it on the screen now.
Okay.
And she says, I guess what I mean is that if people were harmful to you or not loving to you, how do you call them to be accountable without
Got
being
it.
perfectionistic?
Yeah. Well, this is going to be a really unfulfilling answer.
I already know it.
Yeah. I don't need anybody to be accountable to the harm that they've caused to me for me to, so there's two things. You know, there is a healing that could potentially happen, okay, by me saying, you caused me harm. Okay. I'm not even sure anymore. I think the healing is the fact that I just get to say that. It's not necessarily the person's accountability or response. And the thing that I've learned is if I am ever waiting for another person to be accountable for the harm that they've caused me, for me to let it go, I have put myself in a prison and I've given away my power. So it's like, for me, and it takes the time that it takes. You can't rush it. You can't hop over it. You can't push it through. It's like it takes the time that it takes. And I will liberate myself from that exactly when I can organically do that in a good way. Does that mean like I might be mad or upset or I have my hard feelings for 2 years? Yeah. Does it mean it might be 3 months? Sure. I don't care. Nobody needs to agree with me about the impact of their behavior for me to let it go when I'm ready to let it go. So that's my approach. It doesn't mean I don't have hard feelings about it. It doesn't mean I don't go through all of that. I do. But my liberation is not contingent upon someone else agreeing that they did a thing.
Don,
That's,
I hope that was helpful for you. I hope you can comment again and I'll pin it and read your
yeah,
answer. That Erica, that's one of the lessons I've learned on the journey here. Is like it's I think a lot of white folks I've worked with, they hear be accountable, and then instead
yeah,
of holding it for themselves, they're
yeah,
like, okay, be accountable. That means go hold everybody else accountable for being bad racist white people, and
yeah.
just I'm okay because I'm doing the work. And what you just named was just my perfect example. People say, how do you not get tired of white people? I'm not here for white people. If you really
That's
think
right.
about it, that's
Yeah,
not my job,
yeah,
you know?
yeah. Yeah, I mean, for me, it's like the majority of my anti-racism works. It's me. It's me. What am I gonna do about me? What am I gonna do about me? What am I gonna do about me? Now,
Hmm.
what can I do about me? How's the
Hmm.
impact of my behavior? How am I showing up? What am I saying to my kids? You
Right.
know? And if extra comes up, I guess I'll be notified, but it's like I'm not going to chase people down in a headlock. And it's like there's no invitation for learning. They don't want to, lots of folks don't want to, or the folks that want to change their minds and learn something different will, you know, and everybody else is going to do what they're going to do.
Okay. Well, Dawn is back, and Dawn says her question. She's asking her question as a trans brown woman who's
Yeah.
been harmed by white people.
Yeah. Yes, that is real. And, do not wait for the opportunity to let it go for a white person or to agree that they did that to you. It's like they did that to you, and and how can you find your happiness? How can you find your peace? How can you make yourself whole without them having to agree with you? I don't know. It's like I recently have been in a healing about really coming to terms with myself about, you know, harm that was caused to me by men that I had been in relationships with, and like my part in that. And it's all to be uh I think the healing comes through, for lack of a better analogy, how the sausage is made, how you metabolize what is yours and discern what isn't, you know?
Mhm.
And it's like, if you ever get, I've had a situation where someone caused me harm and I was all over it. I was just like, and I'm not going to let it go until they apologize. It was a relative, and I'm not going to let it go until they apologize. Okay? And like years went by and they didn't apologize, and I did my shit of taking care of myself, going to therapy, doing the thing, letting it go, and then one day they came and apologized. And it fell so flat. It was like it didn't even do the thing that I thought it would do. So I'm curious, okay, for you. And it's like I don't know what it's like to be anybody other than myself. But what I'm curious about is how you can save and heal yourself despite that. And when and if that ever comes up, that you do get to have a conversation with someone and present them with, the harm that they've caused,
Mhm.
where that would take you, it's like, I hope both things happen. Here we are at both, and, I hope you get to heal yourself and have all the resources to do that. And someone can come up to you and go, wow,
Yeah.
what the fuck was that?
Yeah.
I humble myself before you and the terrible behavior.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
Don says, I guess I'm still processing the harm, but
yeah,
I appreciate what you said about letting go.
that's right.
Thank you, Don.
Yeah,
I
thanks so
think
much, Don.
one thing that I do know is that when I send a text or a call and I'm like, this person did this thing, the first thing is, okay, what are you going to do about it? What's your role in it?
That's right.
And I think that is one of the, as a Black woman, Dawn, having someone to remind me of you're not powerless. How can you heal forward without the expectation? This is a real teaching here. I'm sharing some real stuff
That's right.
without the expectation that they will apologize or they will do what you need them to do to make you yourself feel good.
That's right.
So what is the conversation? I think there's so many. What is the medicine you can give yourself right now so that you can go forward? And if they apologize, great. And if they don't, great.
Yep.
But not be so tied to holding them accountable when I can actually free myself from the harm that I experienced. And I think that was so powerful for me. Like hearing that, I hear it a lot. It's not like I still don't hear it. Like when I tell you I'm sending text messages, that is what I'm. So what's your role? What are you going to do about it? And I just be like, damn, what do you mean? What am I? It's not my job. That person did that to me. What do you mean? What am I going to do about it? Just think about that for a second. You send me a message, hey, this just happened. Okay, what you going to do? You're going to
That's
just
right.
sit there and be like, oh my God.
Mhm.
Or are you going to do your process so that you're not sitting in shit waiting for something that might never happen?
That's right. Yeah. Don't give yourself away like that.
Ooh, don't give yourself away like that. What does that mean? What do you mean don't give ourselves away?
Yeah, don't give yourselves away. Like my peace is not dependent upon another person bestowing it upon me. It's like I take it for myself. It's mine to have myself, and it is an internal thing that cannot be dictated to me by another person unless I say so. Unless I say so. Unless I say so, you know? And this is the thing that is, this entire country was founded on it being very, very clear that a certain group of people will be powerful and a certain group of people will not. And it continues, in it's very undeniable now, just in case.
Pretty
you
obvious.
know, the
It's pretty
unsubtle.
obvious.
Yeah, and it's just like, yeah, what are you gonna do about your rights and yourself today? And everybody else, as a matter of fact. It's like, if it's not becoming painfully obvious that yeah, the whole ship goes down, folks. That there's just, it's the whole ship. It's not just like, oh, in this class, in steer class, it's the whole ship, you know?
What are we going to do about it? And what are you going to do about it? I love the fact what you keep reframing to what are you going to do about yourself?
Yeah.
Is it selfish to think about yourself in the moments that we're living in right now?
Well, we have been conditioned to believe that it is. It's like the way, the organized religion. I was raised Catholic, which was just like it did such a number on me of anytime you think of anything that has to do with you, you're a terrible, wretched person. And it's just like, what? Martyrdom is glorified in most organized religion. I mean, on this day of all days that we would be talking about more, it's very
Oh my God,
unsymbolic,
rising from the dead.
That's right. Here,
Sorry.
I died for you. Please don't. Please don't. Please don't. And just really being able to unpack that. And again, it being both and.
Mm-hmm.
I am in myself, aware of myself, and that I, being me, has an impact on other people. It's not just me or you. Right?
I don't know. Is it?
What's the analogy of the oxygen mask? I put it on so I can put it on you, right?
I, yeah.
And
It, it
there's a really great quote. Uh Maybe it's Audre Lorde, or maybe it is Bell Hooks, like, you liberate yourself to liberate other people,
yeah,
right?
you
Thank
liberate
you.
yourself to liberate other people. I
Thank
can't
you.
remember who
Yes.
said it, but that
Thank
is,
you. It was a absolutely genius Black woman, that much I do know.
oh, thanks. Of course. No. I have a question. I have a
Absolutely, of
couple more
course.
questions. One
Yeah.
is, do you, so because we've been conditioned, right, to be codependents here in
Yeah.
America, is it a survival strategy?
Uh I don't know, and I don't care anymore. I don't care
Ooh.
why anymore. I don't care why. Finding the source of the pain in my life, like finding the minute the injury occurred, for me, that's not where the healing lives. That's where some information lives, but it's not where the healing lives. The healing for me lives in, I don't give a shit why. I just know I don't want anything to do with it anymore, and I'm going to try my best to run in the other direction. So it's like,
Wow.
okay, it may be a survival strategy or not. I'm not really interested in surviving anymore. I am interested in thriving and creating an interdependent society where, oh, it's like we're all doing this together. So I don't know, maybe, probably.
It's interesting. You're not interested in the why, like the source.
It just doesn't like, and starting this whole thing of like, yeah, it's clear that codependency is the runoff of all of these systems of oppression.
Right.
Yeah, I don't need to dissect it more than that. That would be a distraction from me actually unraveling from the cult itself.
How did you begin unraveling from the cult? The cult of America.
Well, yeah, I was tired of being unhappy. I got
Mm.
sick of being sick and tired. I got sick of feeling like I didn't know how to give and receive love. I got sick and tired of the illusion that all my problems are so unique and special and different, and how different I am. I just got sick of all of it. And I wanted to, use my life to connect with people. I wanted to use my life to help people be happy and be more loving.
Hmm.
And I don't care if I'm cool or I make sense, which I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. But it's just, I really don't. I care more. This is what I'm saying. I care more about teaching people how to be more loving to themselves and other people than being right. I don't know. I don't know if I'm right or not. I don't give a shit.
What?
It's like people will agree with me or not agree with me. I don't care if they agree with me. I just care if, like, if there's something here that's working for you, good, take it, apply it to your life and learn to be more loving. If you don't
Mhm.
agree with me, I don't care. You don't even need to tell me about it. I'm sure I'm wrong. I don't give a shit.
Oh, God. I think that's one of the biggest things that happens in the social justice industrial complex.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to be right.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to connect. Nobody wants to be curious.
Yes.
And I can totally see that cult of America in
Yes.
all these systems, and including ourselves, because we're also
That's
little
right.
systems
That's
that
right.
exist in this world. And um, what would you say to someone, Erica, who is, let's say they've woken up, right? They're like, I'm sick of my shit. I'm
Yeah.
sick of
Yeah.
this matrix, but they're kind of in this space of like not making decisions. It's just like they feel stuck or frozen.
Yeah.
They know they want to heal codependency. They know they're all about the love, but they're just like, what do I do now? What's that step to like getting to your self love practice or getting to back to you?
Yeah. Um, being really afraid and doing it anyway.
Hmm.
Being afraid over and over and over again and doing it anyway. Because it's the fear, right? You come up against the fear. You come up against like I don't want to. This is weird. I don't like this, blah, blah, blah. And doing it anyway. Being afraid and doing it anyway, which is ultimately feeling really vulnerable and doing it anyway.
Vulnerability is the sweet spot. I've heard that before.
That's right.
What makes vulnerability so sweet?
Well, intimacy, okay, which ultimately is connection. It's just for me, it's just another word for connection. In my experience, only happens with vulnerability and transparency.
Hmm. So no more lying.
No more lying. It's like really being able to tell the truth, you know? And I think a lot, another way we've been conditioned is like it would be really liberating for people, especially white people, to just go ahead and say that they don't know. I don't know. It's how you heal the expert perfectionist nonsense is, you know what? I don't know.
Yeah.
And in I don't know, anything is possible. In being an expert, no one can tell you shit. But in I don't know, that's like just that little bit of space that you give yourself so that you can create the habit of sitting with
Mm-hmm.
yourself. That's how you do it. I don't know. Let me think about it. Right.
Yeah.
And especially as you come up with things that are scary. And God forbid anyone says, that's really scary to me and I don't know what to do. I feel like that at least 30 times a day. This is scary. I don't know what to do. Does anyone know what to do? No, no one knows what they're doing. Okay. Is anyone else scared? Oh, everybody's scared. Oh, good to know.
It's so hard because it's just it's we've been conditioned to know. You got to know. You got to
That's
know.
right.
You have to have an
Yeah.
answer.
Yeah. And that your worth is based on that.
Mm,
Your value is based on that.
Jesus Christ.
Has
Your
risen.
your so yeah. I remember feeling like my value is not tied to social constructs of success, and all of our value is tied to these illusionary constructs of success. So
That's right.
that makes sense.
And just being sober with yourself about it. This is the innocence piece, okay? It's like, oh, wow, I see all these patterns in me. I notice these patterns. And, instead of going down the self-deprecation, self-loathing tunnel or the shaking your fist, you can shake your fist. I'm down with shaking the fist. We got to shake a lot of fists, but it's like the fist shaking is an action. Outrage is an action. It's a fucking feeling. I'm sorry. I probably shouldn't be swearing.
I don't.
Outrage.
You can swear.
Okay, great. Outrage isn't an action item. It's a feeling. Feelings aren't action items.
So
So,
what? So what do you think about protests?
well, sure. It's a way, it's like, and what about your behavior when you're not in the protest?
That's what I'm
What about
saying.
the
That's all
stuff
I
that's
care
going
about.
down at your school? What about when, you're driving by a cop pulling someone over? What about when ICE is in your neighborhood? It's like, go to all the, great, great. And what about the conversations with your family? What are you teaching your kids? What are you watching on TV? What are they watching on TV? What's happening at your school?
Man.
This is funny that you brought this up because for some, it's like all the protests have not aligned. Like I've always been doing something important that I can't cancel to go to a protest, and I'll give myself a really hard time about it and be like, oh man, this sucks. I can't go to the protest. And then the second question I always ask myself would be, well, what are you going for and who are you trying to show? And what did you do today that would be the protest? What are you doing today with your actions that,
Mm,
maybe you should like pick up the phone and call some senators or whatever, or maybe pull your kids out of the racist ass school they go to.
that sounds like a great idea.
Those were my options instead of going to the protest. I couldn't go to the protest, but I have to take my kids out of the school that they go to because racism isn't that big of a deal for them.
Damn. And this is the work though, all of you all who are watching live in the replay. This is the work. It's not about the quick, oh, if I was at a protest and it feels good. I call them parades
Yeah.
because a protest is about disruption and y'all are walking on sidewalks wanting bouncy houses and they're having a picnic, Erica. And I'm like, what? That's not behavior change.
No.
I want to be comfortable speaking up against Elon Musk and Donald Trump. And that's the other part about it is like they don't care.
Yeah.
So why are you trying to protest against
That's
a
right.
system of people who don't care when you
Right.
can actually go home, focus on yourself, and change behaviors every
That's
single
right.
day? Or pick one thing
Or
that you,
if everyone wants to get together, why don't you and invite everyone on your street over for dinner and have a vulnerable conversation? I
that's
mean,
too
I'm
much work.
just other ideas, you know?
What would they talk about?
I mean, there are a lot of questions that I could ask in my neighborhood, which I have, which is like, okay, tell me all about why you think Donald Trump is so wonderful. Please. I have to know. Because I don't want to just assume, but this is the vulnerable conversation. Is let's ask the uncomfortable questions.
Right.
Let's talk about, all the shit I'm making up about you that you scare me. What are you really like? Which is like, okay, tell me all about why you
Oh,
think
God, an
Donald
echo.
Trump
Hold
is
on
so
a second.
wonderful.
Wait a
Please.
second. I'm usually like able to have Instagram in the background, and then your voice just came on, and you're like, wait a minute, I just said that.
That was crazy.
That is so good. Like you called it a vulnerable conversation. That's interesting. I like that. I usually call it a curious conversation, but I love that you said a vulnerable conversation because curiosity can also be used as manipulation and a weapon. So
Well, yeah, and I am definitely way more afraid than I am curious in those conversations, if I'm being honest. It's like
yeah.
I'm curious for sure, but the overwhelming feeling that I have is I'm afraid.
Mm, what are you afraid of?
Uh, Oh God, so many things. It's like having someone freak out, me looking stupid. Like if I'm gonna tell the truth, it's just like, yeah, that whatever that person thinks, whatever I might think, finding out that they don't care and they want the world to burn. I mean, there's a million things, that they're gonna come to my house and, I don't know, crap on my porch. There's so many things to
Yeah.
be afraid of. And I'm not saying any of them are real, but it's just what's true?
How do you filter out what's true from what's false? That's the work. All of this is the work. And I think, like, if you could leave anyone with any takeaway, Erica, today around just healing codependency,
Yeah.
what would that be?
Your feelings aren't an emergency, which I think it's time we had t-shirts made.
We should have one. We should have multiple in multiple colors with a
Yeah.
unicorn. With a
Yeah.
unicorn.
Yeah. Your feelings aren't an emergency. You don't know anything about anybody. You barely know yourself. And you can simultaneously occupy yourself and your own life and be mindful that you have an impact.
Well, you heard it first here, you all. For those of you who are just now tuning in on Facebook, welcome. This has been such a rich conversation with Erika. I'm going to try to be fancy real quick so that people can know. If you want to know more about Erika and her work, you can go to erikawright.org and learn about her healing codependency groups um, and more.
That's right.
So that
Yes,
was
thanks
beautiful.
everybody. I really appreciate it. And here's what I want to say. Maisha is the world's most incredible person. If you ever listen to her, which I know you all do, and you love her, give her money. I don't care about your words about how much you love her. Back it up with action and give this woman your money. It is what you can do if it's easy and it's the action that is actually helpful. And I would say that about all the people that you support. It's like get your wallet out and give them money to show them that you do now. That's how I
Well,
feel about it.
well,
I
that
hope
was
that was
hardcore.
okay.
That was fine. I was like, I didn't say it. You said
No,
it.
I
But
said
I've
it.
been saying it every day. I have this whole, that's my
Yeah,
new series on Substack. So my birthday is 11 or 12 days of vulnerability where I'm like, just naming,
that's right.
this is what I'm
Yeah,
feeling and this is how you can support me. But if you
that's
do
right.
want to, you can go to my Gumroad, myicthill.com or
Yeah,
myicthill.gumroad.com and you
that's
can
right.
give an offering and become a monthly sustainer of the work, not just
Yes,
sign up for a workshop.
that's right. That's right. Yeah, it's like put your money where your heart is.
That was great. Thank
You're the
you.
best. Thank you so much, Maisha.
I appreciate you. Thank you for being here. We'll have to have you here again with some more questions. Thank
Anytime.
you. Thank you, Zay. You said, I hope you're pushing through long COVID and feeling better. I have to be honest with you. I actually don't feel long COVID in my body at all. If I were to be honest with everyone, I actually went to my doctor, and my doctor actually said to me, if there was a poster child for recovering from long COVID, that would be you. He looked at my blood labs. While we're on the conversation, Zay, and anyone who's wondering,
Yeah.
I got one more appointment and I'm 100% cleared to go back to scuba diving,
Wow.
all the things that I love. So and that took community support to get me here. So,
Which is why it's important.
yep.
Yeah, interdependency means financial interdependency also, and there's plenty for
Ooh.
everybody when we share.
Well, we'll have to have you back on and have that conversation. Let's talk about the
Definitely.
money. That has been, I've been doing the artist way and I finished that abundance week, but now I'm doing that abundance week again with the week on 6 and 7. I'm doing them simultaneously because I'm like, ever since I did that week, now I feel stuck. Isn't that interesting?
Crazy.
Anywho, thanks everyone for watching. Thank you, Erika, for being here. Erika, you can stay on.
Pleasure.
I'm going to end the live stream. You all have a happy Easter, happy Sunday, and live into the work.